Yo guys, it's Clement, and today we are back on the channel after pretty much a whole year of not posting. I will be reacting to my games of week 2 of the World League in EMEA, and just give my thought process and also talk about my experience so far in the World League. Yeah, I think I will do like a bigger recap at the end, but yeah, let's just have a look. So in EMEA, I really I really don't like this UI. Like it's not very easy to understand. But I played 4 games this week. So against Markus Benz, against Lennli, against Strefan, and against Kapten here. And I got 4 points, so pretty good result for me. Which means that I'm now fourth and tied with Blinky second, but also tied with Bulgarian Joyer sixth. So very good performance so far. And honestly, a pretty decent experience, I gotta say, apart from the first day, which was quite a mess. But I mean, it was. I think the biggest problem was like if you remember when we guessed like our guess is not going down, that was pretty annoying, and not knowing if we had to worry about that or no was pretty tiresome. But yeah, I will jump straight into watching my first game, which was against Markus Benz, which I ended up winning 2-0. We're gonna jump around different streamers as we don't have VODs available this year, unfortunately. So I wanted to do this to get back into the habit of making videos as a way like to keep trace of my games, which otherwise there aren't, and also it makes it easier for people maybe to follow. If they want to follow my games, then it's gonna be easier this way, because it's quite complicated to find the games of a specific player you want to follow. So yeah, this game against Markus Benz I think was only fully broadcasted by Gabriel Gio, so we're gonna watch his live with the sound at the minimum. So I'm just gonna talk quickly about this game and my thought process. So Markus Benz is like a pretty interesting player, as he is a very good moving player, but he also plays like completely without any car meta or copyright or anything, just relying on absolute like real life knowledge, let's say, that like city knowledge or this type of stuff, or like what it actually looks like instead of Google car metas, which is kind of base, to be honest. But sometimes it means that on some rounds it's just more difficult, because now car meta is such a big part of Geoguessr that especially professional Geoguessr. So here, first round, we do have this uneven pull top with a very tall rod, like above the this horizontal bar, which is honestly mostly found in Eastern Java, but can also be found in South Cali, I believe, and maybe a couple other places. But I just insta-guessed here because I was a bit lazy, to be honest, to find a Kabu pattern. So I guess Surabaya, which honestly is not very central in East Java, so maybe could have made a better guess, but yeah. And here you're gonna see, if you haven't really followed yet, there is a new setting in the World League, which means that the closest player to the round actually, on the round, actually gets the multiplier, and not the player who was furthest. And there are no tie ranges, which means that, very sensibly closer guesses, which are basically, plonk-offs, exactly similar plonk-offs, might lead to multipliers, which, a lot of players are against, of course, but so far that's how it was possible to make this new setting happen, which I think everyone agrees that this is a pretty good setting, because it gives more importance to every round instead of just like giving importance to the last 2 rounds, basically, which is how it used to be. And it just gives more, as I said, more meaning to every round, and that's a very positive thing, and more meaning to smaller countries also. So can't really argue against that. But yeah, the lack of tie range is pretty pretty painful sometimes. But yeah, here we have a Nova Scotia round. It looks very Atlantic with all the fir trees, and also we had this this very short pull top you can see here, these very short pole stops are very common in the Atlantic states in general, and I think we also have a 45-degree transformer, but that's a bit difficult to see. And if you want some car meta, which I'm sure you do, blue car 25 with like a hazy coverage like this is only Nova Scotia. I think it's a bit difficult to see on the stream, but it's like a darker blue, a darker shade of blue, and 25, and it looks a little bit hazy in a way. So that's only Nova Scotia as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that can also be useful on some runs, but here it obviously looked pretty urban, and I think there was a sign saying Halifax also earlier. So yeah, I tried to go a bit suburban there because it didn't really look urban, but I should have just clicked Halifax, to be honest, instead of trying to region guess based on nothing. So yeah, losing quite a few multipliers. And here we have a Kazakhstan round. So Kazakhstan is a pretty boring country, I gotta say, especially urban. You can only really use, I think the most common thing to use are either car meta or pole paint. And this is what I used here. We had the, trying to explain, we had the car with the fold back antenna instead of, usually the antenna is up straight, right, on most rounds in Kazakhstan. But here we had the folded back antenna, which is mostly found around Uralsk, so that's what I used here. Yeah, it's mostly around Uralsk. It is a couple other places too, but yeah. I'm just gonna scroll in front. I also had signs for Samara, so I just assumed it would be close to Uralsk, and it was actually a smaller town in between, Kobda, I think it's called, so I actually had that on the sign, so could have scanned for it, but I really thought it would be a main city. Now we have a Philly round, I believe. No, Mexico round. And yeah, he had immediately a sign for Guerrero and probably also the actual town we were in, but I can't really read it here. Copalillo. To be honest, it's quite a small town, so I don't know if I would have found it, but I had nothing other than an area code. I think it was 742 maybe, or I'm not really sure. But yeah, I thought it looked quite coastal because it was not too mountainous, but it was quite far inland actually. So that was a very good find by Markus there. Then we have a UK round. I think I'm gonna show you the beginning here. I instantly thought with the architecture, but also with this lamp sticker. It's a bit difficult to see. Yeah, this one, like black with golden letters. That I immediately thought we would be in Cornwall's, because this is the Cornwall lamp sticker. But yeah, also the white houses, they don't really look typical UK. So yeah, I immediately thought quite far south and was looking maybe for bins. You know, often bins in the UK they're gonna say like the council or like the city or something. So was hoping to find something, but eventually I didn't get really anything. So yeah, I ended up just guessing. Yeah, I wanted to go Exeter at first, then I chose Plymouth for no particular reason. To be honest, I thought it looked a bit coastal, maybe, but yeah, that was a nice guess. I was quite happy because I remembered correctly the lamppost sticker, but I wasn't really sure, and I also thought a bit of the region guess, you know, with the architecture. Here we have a Noman round, which is not very good, like for me, because it's mostly lining up roads and maybe car metas, but I don't really know car metas as most cars are blurred nowadays in Oman. So yeah, I was trying to find like a small town we had, but not really much to say. It was more south, so he got a multi again. I had a pretty small multi at this point, and he was already beginning to get a pretty high one, and here we had a Philly round, and he got info before me, so he took his time, which was well played by him. He took his time to 5k. But once I got the info right here, of the town in Bohol, I just search for the town and insta-send instead of guessing fast. I mean, maybe if he insta-sent Bohol when he had the sign, maybe I wouldn't have had info by that time. So maybe that would have been a better play by him. I don't really know, but in the end, he also got the multiplier. So that is also an important thing in this settings. Here, Germany round against a German player is not very. I was not very happy to get that, but I mean, it's gonna happen, of course, sometimes. But yeah, mostly in Germany, you're just gonna run until you get a Landkreis, but I don't think we really got any in this round. We had this sign. Apparently, I didn't know that, but apparently the red, these red things are. I'm not really sure, but like this sign is specific to Hamburg somehow. I think I saw that on the Dayono Ziggy stream afterwards. But I didn't really know much about bus stops, but I guess they are probably region specific, so worth learning probably. But yeah, I went Bremen and he went Hamburg, so he probably knew the bus stops or knew something. I had something saying Bremerstrasse, I think, so that's why I went there, and it made sense with the architecture. And this round was like, at first sight, it was a pretty boring Omsk ground, but as you can see on his screen, there's a pretty big lake, which I will see here. So I thought, like, it's quite a big lake after all, even though Omsk has a lot of lakes, so maybe it's worth like getting some info and trying to scan. And here I had the town name, I think Busan or something like that. And yeah, so I moved straight into the map and just scanned the lakes and cities with Lake West. And I found Busan pretty fast. And yeah, I was quite happy about that because even though it was quite a big lake, you had to zoom in quite a lot to see that town because there was basically like 4 houses, so that was nicely done. And then we got like Alberta round, which in moving they are incredibly solved, these Alberta rounds, because of the township roads and what's it called? Township and don't remember the other one. Range roads, which are everywhere and form grids like across the state, and it's very easy. Once you found one of the two, it's very easy to find the 5K because you just have to go further like into one direction until you hit the right road. So yeah, this was pretty boring. I'm just gonna go into the front, and we both ended up finding it. I mean, experienced moving players are almost probably always gonna find this within a minute, I think, unless it's like more one of the more bait roads, I guess. But yeah. Then we got an Oman. I could see the reaction on Markus's face. He was not happy because, I mean, Oman technically is like a very kilometer heavy country, but now that everything is blurred, like there's not really much other than maybe knowing roads, knowing carriages, like knowing skies maybe. Definitely not something he would learn, but not something I really learned either, to be honest. I never really sat down and learned Oman that much. I mean, I did before they blurred the kilometers, but I don't really know anything about Oman nowadays. And yeah, so this was mostly like lining up roads in the middle of the desert, and he actually did a very good job at that because he instantly found the right portion. And I mean, I don't know, I don't know what I was doing on this. Like, there was a portion of road that lined up pretty well, and I didn't look into it, like the road above, not this one, but the one above where I scanned. And yeah, I lost quite a lot of points there, and he nearly 5K'd, so. As you can see here, there's a pretty clearly quite long east-west section, and there wasn't really where I scanned, so that was a bit of a poor play by me, but it happens. I'm not a very good scanner. Like, I'm even a pretty bad scanner compared to most professional players, so it makes sense that I'm gonna make mistakes like that. So yeah. I mean, it's urban Chile. We're mostly just gonna try and find information, and I think it says Antofagasta on the bus he had, and I got like the same bus basically a bit later that also said Antofagasta, so I'm just gonna go in front. But Antofagasta is probably the default click anyways, unless you wanna go Iquique, because Antofagasta has, I mean, it is a bigger city in general, but. So yeah, I have a pretty low multiplier, as you can see, compared to Markus at this point. He has 5.5x and I have 3x. And here we have a specific like Brazilian coverage, so I thought maybe I'm gonna try to put the pressure on him. As you can see, it's like blue car with a right blur. And that's unique to east of Belém, I think, within Para. I mean, in all of Brazil, this is unique, and it's only found east of Belém. So I just insta-sent, hoping that he wouldn't get information or have an area code or anything. But unfortunately, I think he manages to find an area code. I don't remember where he saw it, but I think he did see one. Yeah, maybe there, I don't know, like 91 area code, and he got there last second. And I had a very good insta send, like that was very well done, but wasn't enough to beat him. So we had to play one more round with, you know, a 2x deficit in multipliers. But luckily it was a very rural round. And my first thought here was when the round loaded in, I'm just gonna show because maybe you can see the vision. My first thought here is Argentina, to be honest. I thought it looked like Puerto Madryn. We also had windmills in the distance. And the sun looked like it could be either north or south. So I was thinking, yeah, Argentina at first. But then I see that the poles are kind of weird and the houses are also weird. And yeah, I think we've got a few Mexico poles. And I looked at the copyright and it was 21. And the thing is, 2021 copyright in Argentina is very rare, honestly, these days. You can only find it really in Chaco and like a couple places in the north, basically, like BA, Chaco, Santa Fe, probably. A couple places like in the middle and north of the country, but definitely not in Neuquén. So yeah, I knew we were in Mexico, and then I look around. I try to, you know, make sense of the landscape and everything. And like the vibe is so strange. It looks like basically like an American town, but in Mexico. And then I remember a town I randomly coverage checked like 2 weeks before, maybe 3 weeks before this game, which is La Rumarosa, which is a very unique town, to be honest, with like at the border with the US. And yeah, it has a bunch of windmills, so it is very recognizable. And I thought, I was like praying because, you know, it's scary with the multipliers, but I was especially also praying that he wouldn't get it, which, you know, it's pretty hard to get this, to be honest, if you don't know the coverage. But yeah, he ends up going Argentina, which is exactly what was my first thought. So that's why I really don't blame his guess. I can't blame it because he doesn't play with copyright or car meters, and if you don't check, like, I mean, I don't know, if you don't have like a car plate or you don't see a Mexican pole, like, there's not really, like, in moving, if you are stressed, like, there's not really much you can do. Here I mean, you see me laughing, but it's mostly like because I was I was very relieved because it was such a close game, and it was also kind of funny, like such an anticlimactic end of game. But wrong continent guesses do happen. Like it's not impossible that it happens, and it also happened to me last year in the World League. Like I did the opposite. I went Mexico on Argentina in moving, like with probably 40 seconds of moving. So like. There's definitely no blame here at all. Like, yeah, shit does happen, especially when it's your first World League and there's like the pressure with that on top. Yeah. Now we get into no move. So I was feeling quite confident in no move against Markus, as I said, you know, I'm pretty car meta heavy and copyright, like merchanting a lot, and he doesn't really know a lot of it, so often that helps, but it can also be like it can also throw you off. So yeah, first couple rounds were pretty boring. Here we have like info. I don't remember. Was it Kemijavi? Yeah, Kemijavi, and it was just about trying to line up the 5K, but neither of us did a very good job at that. So yeah, I got a bit closer here. I'm just gonna move into the next round. So here we have a Northern Canada type of round, or at least, yeah, pretty cold looking Canada. I immediately thought it looked like the new Northern BC coverage, which also has Black Car, Summer, 25, and this exact case. So honestly, to me, it made a lot of sense. Sorry. So yeah, I just went straight for it. I didn't consider anything at all. And he went Saskatchewan, which is a fair hedge, to be honest, when it looks like the Northern Prairies. And it was actually Manitoba in those, kind of Métis parks that are in Western Manitoba. I took quite a lot of damage there. And honestly, was quite lucky to not even take more, because I feel like he could have went Manitoba there. That was quite possible. So, I mean, yeah. I was getting a bit scared now, because I really don't want to go in MPZ against, nobody wants to go in MPZ because it's such a random mode, and and yeah, there's not much you can do on a lot of rounds. So yeah, I was trying to lock in and make good guesses from now on. Here you can see we have like a gable here on top of the roofs. These are mostly common in South Sula, to be honest. I think the roof shapes, like, they also kind of look like Southern Sula, so yeah, I think we also had some fences, and the fact we also had weird, like, old type of poles made sense for South Sula. Okay, Gabriel Joe is doing a bit of a multiplex, so I think I'm gonna I'm gonna move into Did Kodiak stream the game? I think so. I think we can go into Kodiak to watch this, and then we will watch my game against Lennli as well on Kodiak stream. Here. So here, this is the moving. We'll just go in front, I think, here. Yeah, the Sula round. So he was commentating with Orion, I think. Yeah, feel free to follow if you don't. I mean, you definitely know and follow Kodiak already, but even Gabriel Geo, even though he commentates in French, feel free to follow them, because he might stream, games of players you want to follow while the main streams are not following them. So it can always be useful. Because, they typically watch, use the clean feeds of games that aren't on the main broadcast. Or, like, in this case, they probably follow players from their country. So, like, Kodiak's gonna follow German players and Gabriel Geo French players. But yeah, not much to say on this round. It was just a Hungary plonk-off, and he got the multiplier. Yeah. Here we had a Karnataka round with those trident poles. But we had a lot of corn. That was kind of interesting, and also a lot of palms. I thought the palm spam was, like, usually more southern within Karnataka, but he kind of hedged a bit more middle-ish, and that worked really well for him. So I lost another 1,000 health on that. So it was a bit scary. That the move game was again quite close. So eventually a very close duel against Markus Benz. This was a bit of a mockery run. We had information. I thought this had to be huge cities because they were like 50 kilometers away or something, but I couldn't read like what they were, and I think same for Markus, because we got both pretty far somehow. I thought it said Haskovo, but it didn't. I honestly tried to forward what it did say, but I think it was just like middle-sized towns, which I didn't know but could have scanned and found. So yeah. Now we have a US round, or North America round at least. my thought process was that it looks a bit like Manitoba, but it looks a bit wrong. So I excluded Canada pretty fast because we didn't have France, and I thought like without France, the only place that made sense is Michigan, and also with the sandiness, it made sense. So, but yeah, you see, I didn't really see the car at first, and I thought it could have a front, so I was considering Wisconsin and Minnesota as well. Um, but yeah, with the sandiness and this type of landscape, I think if you were in Minnesota or Wisconsin, you probably would have a more red type of soil. But this was just like very sandy, so that's more Michigan. So I end up just like hedging somewhere around UP and somehow click the 5k pretty much. But that was pretty important to get close on that because I could have lost if I went like for my initial Duluth kind of thought. This round, I thought like with the huge fields like this and kind of a dry vibe, I thought it had to be quite far into the plains. We also had a weird hill like to our south, like which I was a bit confused by, but I thought it's probably some rolling hills near the river, like near Missouri or Mississippi River. So yeah, my first thought was near Kansas City, but I ended up kind of hedging somewhere in Missouri. And he thinks it's more east because of the hill, which makes sense. Like that hill looked quite big for what you would expect in the plains. But yeah, it ended up being Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri tri-points, and that was a pretty good guess by me. So eventually, we ended up winning, which was quite nice. I mean, winning 2-0 is what I meant, but with a different multi-order, as you can see with that one Manitoba round, I definitely could have lost this no move. Probably against most odds because people don't really think Markus Benz of Markus Benz as a strong no move player because he doesn't really play with car meters or whatever. But honestly, as we've seen with the qualifier, he got first, I think, in the no move seat, so he is quite a solid no move player as well. Depending on the rounds. So yeah, it was quite good to win 2-0 and not have to play the NMPZ. So we'll now move into my next game, which was against Lennli. So yeah, as you can see, this is a bit annoying when you have to find when your games were streamed and all that, and you can't just go straight into a VOD. But okay, so this game against Lennli was a pretty close game eventually, but as we saw earlier, I ended up losing it. Here we had the Donetsk round, like deep fall coverage and black car. So within Ukraine, you can only be in Donetsk, but honestly, with those hills, like the mining hills, the only option was like Donetsk. I don't really think there are towns like this in Russia that much. Maybe Belgorod, but yeah, he got closer on that round, so won the multiplier. Then we had Indo round, so mostly just like running to find a Kapten. And yeah, I got one quite fast, but it was Strigen. I didn't really remember where that was, and it took me some time before I was able to find it. So yeah, he got the info quite late and still managed to find Strigen, and he tried to line up with the railway, which ended up giving him another multiplier. So yeah, it is mostly on these rounds. It's absolutely not about the damage. It's mostly about like managing to get the multi somehow, and it's just like gotta try every possible way to get a multiplier, because even though in the beginning it might not be much, but in the end it matters so much. Like the multipliers do everything in the end of the games at this level. So yeah, very well played by him of like trying to steal the multipliers every time. So yeah, here he had the info of Villavicencio. He chose to guess fast since, he doesn't really know what information I might have, but actually had very strong information on this track. It said the municipality, and I think it also said Meta, so it said the province as well. My first initial vibe was Florencia in the south of the country, but yeah, I was scanning for like to get the province, but yeah, I ended up finding Restrepo, which was quite nice, and 5 king. So I got the multiplier, which was nice. Yeah, I was definitely not going there in the beginning. Yeah, then we got a Kazakhstan round. So he was Kodiak had an issue, so he wasn't streaming that round, but was just like an urban Kizloda, and I wasn't sure between Kizloda and Turkestan, but I ended up going Kizloda last second. We had the river to line up, so definitely could have done a better job on this round with the river. But it wasn't really downtown, it was south of the city, as you can see. So that's why Lennli guessed a bit fast before 5 king, because he assumed I wouldn't get it, and that was fair. I was pretty far from getting that, so. Here we were in Germany, again getting Germany against German players. I thought these towns were quite big, so when I got to the sign, I just tried like scanning for the towns. As you can see, I was a bit slow. My internet is quite poor at the moment because I'm in the countryside. I'm at my family, so it should get better the next times I play. But yeah, here I got to the info. That also explains why I didn't want to move as much as my opponents often. Yeah, I thought for some reason that some of these towns had to be big enough to be found, even though it was in Westphalia, which is like the densest area in all of Europe. So in terms of cities, it's not very easy to find them. And yeah, he got a very good sign there with I think Dortmund and don't really know. No, Münster and Hamm. So pretty good sign. But yeah, didn't manage to find the smaller towns I had there. So we had a US round, which is always nice for me to see, but we both had an area code pretty fast, and I think Lennli guessed quite fast, but I found the area code at this point, 845, so just southern New York. And yeah, both got pretty close, but again he got a bit closer and managed to get the multiplier. Maybe he hedged a bit more central in the area code. I don't even know. I thought the area code was west of the river, but I don't know, maybe not. And then again, another like kind of a nothing round. Both going Almaty quite fast. And yeah, I went quite far north because I thought we couldn't see the mountains. I was a bit confused. But yeah, ended up being in the south of the city, of course, and I lost the multiplier again. And I was crashing out because I had lost so many multipliers on rounds, which on last year's format would have been completely useless. Like every round apart from there was one round where I lost quite a lot of HP, but pretty much all the other rounds were quite meaningless in last year's format, of course. But now, I mean, it is a different format, so I gotta adapt, and gotta do better on a lot of these line-upable rounds. But yeah, I need to just train more, like lining up and like 5King fast and all of that, especially when you are in the city and have to line up with a mountain or something and try to remember do like backtracking and whatnot. But we had a Kenya round. I don't really think we got any information, any of us, so I had the vibe for some reason. It looked quite rural and also, very nice, like beautiful tea plantation without like, much development around. So I thought it would be, east of Kisi, where you have those more like park, like more green areas and less populated, but I didn't commit enough to my idea. and he just went Kissy, so it was actually really in the middle of the in the deep middle of the parks. Yeah, finally I managed to get more than 100 points off of his health and get one more multiplier. Okay, at this round I have no idea what I was doing. I was actually quite confused. I didn't know the country till we had language. Here we had language, which said, I think, okay, I think I conflated the languages somehow because on that sign, as you can see on Lennli's screen, it said Strada, which is, not really typical French. I mean, it's not French basically. So I think I conflated this sign and thought, like subconsciously, I knew we were in Corsica, but I was scanning, in Sardinia for the towns, even though, as you maybe saw, I think, yeah, we had a sign for Bastia and Calvi. I mean, it's not like I don't know Bastia, I definitely do, but I was scanning in Sardinia to find those places for some reason, and yeah, it took me quite a bit of time to realize. I realized last second, like, what the hell am I doing? And yeah, we had Coast East, so I think Lennli also kind of trolled. I mean, we were both mocking this round, which, on long moving games, it happens. Like, it's difficult to stay focused completely throughout the whole games. So, yeah, that happened to both of us there. Now, Slovenia round, I mean, I had a sign. I mean, we were both kind of trying to find the roads, but I mean, roads in Slovenia don't really follow an exact logic, but still, I think when you have, like, I was trying to find roads with similar numbers, because, yeah, usually it's still gonna be fairly close, but I think I had roads that were close by, like, a couple digits in that region, so I just committed and it was more west, but honestly, based on landscape, I probably would have went where he went. So, yeah, here we had Lubuk Lingau information. He instantly guessed when he got the information. I had it as well, but I tried. I thought, like, finally I have the time to, try and actually get the multiplier, but I don't really know what I was thinking. Like, I saw all the POIs to the east of the city, so I thought the city went more, like, towards the east and didn't try to line up that mountain. We obviously had, like, north of us, and yeah, that's how I lost another multiplier. I mean, I was mostly, like, yeah, not really playing well on a lot of these, like, not lining up well, not making the most sensible hedge. So yeah, I lost another multiplier there. Then we had an Argentina round. I was trying to think which roads might be stuck in Gen 3, because a lot of this area got new coverage recently, like new Gen 4. We had huge snow-capped mountains west, so I knew it would be some of the western roads. Then they actually moved quite far and got good signs, while I was mostly trying to make sense of the road and trying to line up, but his signs weren't very good. I think he had Perito Moreno and some other town, I don't know, but not really the best kind of signs. But yeah, I ended up going around, I think it's Passo Robaglio, like south of Passo Robaglio, which is a notorious, like, Passo Robaglio area has a bit of snow, but it's one of the notorious roads because it is in, like, a wide canyon like that, and yeah, that was quite a lot of points. That was quite a bit of points, but I would have liked to have 4.5x instead of 3x, but that's how it is. Here we had a poll, and we both played this incredibly poorly. So what did I do? I had like a bollard which I thought said the road number, but actually I think it was just a kilometer marker or something. But then I was trying to scan for that road number I thought I had on the board, and he had a sign for a highway with Warsaw and Poznan to the west, so I think he was scanning east of Warsaw because of that. But he also had Konin straight in front with also a road number, so I think he could have found that fairly quickly if he scanned like all across the country instead of scanning east of Warsaw. But yeah, this was mostly, I mean, on me, I could have done a better job if I actually moved around more. I think I would have had, even with my slower internet, I would have had good time to get to the sign and do a better job. But we also had plenty of windmills, which I tend to think they're more common a bit more towards the midwest of the country or the northwest. So that's like comforted me in my region guess. But yeah. Then there ended up being like in Konin, on, as it said on the sign. But yeah, that was a bit unlucky. Like if I had that same sign, I could have guessed fast and maybe won on that. I don't know, but such is life. Here we got a Spain round, and yeah, we both got kind of to the same sign, but he managed to find like a similarly sounding name to the town we entered, like Barbadillo something, and I didn't manage to find that, so he won the multiplier there. Then we got into 5x. Oh yeah, this was a US round. We both got an area code pretty fast. Okay, sorry for the sound. I hope it wasn't too strong, but we both got an area code pretty fast and like good signs here. So it says road 50 and Maryland 322, and it says west of Easton, I think, which makes you think that Easton is going to be a place. But I didn't read that part because usually these signs don't really have place names. So I was just trying to find the 50 and the 322. But I saw his I watched his stream like to see his reaction to the games he played, and he said he was actually scanning for he was scanning for all the three things at the same time, but he found the city first, like Easton. It was quite big, so I should have spent a bit more time reading the sign there. But I ended up making good sense of the landscape and going like towards Eastern Maryland, so I was decently close. But yeah, here if I like honestly here there was good room for me to gain the multiplier. Like if I had connected the brain cells a bit more, but then we had a Turkey round. I mean, I think most players in Europe, they're gonna know like most of the belediyesi's, especially of this size, like cities like this. So I mean, we had Coast South, so that's why Lennli guessed there, but I just guessed on Silifke Belediyesi and got closer. Got a bit lucky there. Then we had a Kenya round. Yeah, mostly about just finding information, finding signs that are gonna tell you the county, and it's exactly what happens. He went uphill in a direction that I thought wasn't maybe the best, but I ended up going on the dirt road, so definitely wasn't the best my way either. So he had a sign that said Kericho, I think. And I mean, here I got into a pretty big road, so I hope I would get something eventually. But yeah, when someone guesses before the end of time in Kenya, you know you're probably cooked because they got a county and you don't. So yeah, there wasn't really much I could do there region guessing, so I just kind of tried to hedge in the middle of the country, and thankfully that was enough to survive. And yeah, now it was like tied game pretty much, so I still had a good chance of winning, even though he had higher multipliers, but it was still a close game. And now at this point we had an arch round, so yeah, this was a bit of an unfortunate round because I didn't really manage to get any information at all. All I had was like this small town. I don't really remember what was I can't really read because it's like, 3 times smaller on the screen, but he had a bus that said General Pico, which is probably one of the 25 biggest cities in Argentina. So it's like a city that a lot of pros might know. It's in northern La Pampa here, but yeah, he kind of forgot where it was, which happens. And I was trying to exit the town to get better information, but I ended up not really being able to do that. Yeah, he managed to get there in the end, and I was hedging in BA, so he won the moving. Yeah, I think he didn't want to go General Pico downtown because the roads didn't line up there. It was like a weird grid. I was thinking about La Pampa as well on this round, but the grid wasn't a straight La Pampa north-south grid, so I ended up not wanting to go there because of that. But I probably would have lost anyways, like even if I went La Pampa. So yeah, entering no move now with those like double outer lines without inner lines. It's probably mostly gonna be either Czechia or Germany, but this looked a bit more like Czechia, and it was 24, so we just both guessed Czechia pretty fast. Yeah, got closer. Then we had a Malaysia round. Yeah, not really much to say. I mean, it was white car, which is more common in the south of mainland, but it was just like a oil palm plantation round. So yeah, this round, yeah, it looked pretty UK. We also had like UK pole pins, but I thought it looked quite southern with the weird trees, but I guess Wales also has like these kind of wiggly trees, and I think they're also in Scotland actually and in Ireland, so didn't really make sense to commit south there. But yeah, here I was kind of trolling a bit. So we had Czechia, Slovakia, Romania pole tops there, but it looks very dry, so it looked weirdly dry. So I thought it was gonna be Romania. But the width of the road and the overall vibe of the round, I think, was a bit more Slovak, especially with the coverage was like 24. So as you could see, I also switched away from Slovakia, but yeah. In this round we had the Madhya triangle attachment thing here. So we knew we were in Madhya, but it looks so dry. So I thought it would have to be northwestern Madhya probably. And I ended up actually hedging in Rajasthan because I don't know. I thought maybe maybe it could be like some weird attachment that crosses the border. I didn't really know, but and Lennli was very confused. I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, it could have been this part. Like I was kind of hedging for the outside part of Madhya. Because like I thought it just didn't really look like most of Madhya. The Madhya panhandles. Then yeah, just very recognizable, very wet and tropical coverage west of the mountains in Kodo. We both got it immediately, and yeah, I think Lennli got closer there, so he got the multiplier. Then another very recognizable area, the very red, as you can see. I'm trying to show maybe better angle, but yeah, this is like a super red road with B-type antenna. And it's just very recognizable, also with the pines. It's the road east of Bratsk, which goes to Ustkut, I think. And yeah, I happen to be very close, but we both got the road. Now an Indonesia round. Yeah, I immediately thought it looked quite dry and flat and also very sandy, which is very common in central Cali, especially with this coverage, like with the slight front blur and 25, but that also exists in other provinces in Cali. But yeah, I was pretty sure it was gonna be central Cali, so I just guessed, and Lennli went was going East Cali, I think. And yeah, I almost won on this round, but he had 100 health left, and here we had a Namibia round with the mountains and kind of the green vibe. I immediately thought it would be like around Otavi, maybe in Otavi, and it even lined up, but I didn't instantly guess. I don't know why. I thought it could be maybe another town, but we ended up both getting Otavi correctly. So yeah. Then we got a Japan round, so yeah, I think I was here for some reason. I thought this plate was vertical. I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought we had one vertical and one horizontal plate. Or maybe I didn't see. I don't really remember what was going through my head, but I thought we were in Tohoku. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we do have. I think maybe I thought it was vertical or something. Like, I didn't really look at it properly or see it properly, but it was definitely two horizontal plates, which, you know, is only Hokuriku region. So yeah, not really sure what I was doing there, but I ended up going Tohoku and he went Hokuriku, and that is how I lost the no move game. So yeah, I mean, quite the troll by me, to be honest. Like, just a slight Hokuriku region guess could have been enough to win this, but I ended up going the wrong region. But I guess maybe I was a bit stressed, like not really thinking clearly, and yeah, that happened. So that was a bit of a rough 2-0, to be honest. It was a pretty close game. It would have been nice to go to an MPZ, but yeah. Let's watch the next game, which was against Strefan. So I'm not really sure where I can watch this one. Maybe Dayono streamed it. As you can see, there was a very shitty first round, to be honest. Turkey is normally one of my better countries, but here I managed with one whole minute of information to go completely wrong side. I mean, we had the metallic roofs. Like, the houses look pretty Lake Van, I think, but it was deep in the mountains north of Adana, which does happen. It looks pretty wintry there sometimes. Like, I think this was like all the 22 spring coverage, so definitely a bit of a troll by me on that round. But yeah, I was pretty scared getting into this matchup against Strefan, like, very strong player, of course, and also this was my last chance game to get into the winner final. So yeah, here I had the Ippo information, and he didn't get any information, so that was pretty good. This round was quite a mockery by me, I think. We had information quite fast, but I don't know why I was scanning all the way basically into Yukon there. I think it's because it was 22. I didn't understand where you would have 22 in Alberta, so yeah, Strefan had the Strefan had the town pretty fast, and I was I was in Narnia. Yeah, I think I realized it had to be Alberta. I don't know if I saw a bollard or like a lack of front or something, but I was convinced it didn't make sense anywhere I scanned in BC. So yeah, here we had 87 a record, and we're trying to scan for the town. I mean, as it often happens in these northeastern states, and never managed to find it. Yeah, so Western Pernambuco, I think it was a border town with Sierra. So yeah. Here we had an Italy round. At first I thought it was like that that peninsula close to Rome, but yeah, we got the Cagliari sign, so we both kind of weren't here at all at the beginning, but yeah, both ended up there with the sign. And yeah, it was west of, actually on the small island southwest of Sardinia. And yeah, now moving Vietnam location. Pretty boring. I mean, just about finding the province and trying to make a good hedge. But yeah. Yeah, here we had I think 704 area code, which is Charlotte. And what did he have? Did he have 9 or... Yeah, he had 9 or 10. Yeah, he had 910. Okay, so we both had different area codes. I had 704, so... And yeah, we had, as they were saying, we had two North Carolina records, but somehow we were across the border in South Carolina, so quite interesting. Here, Ukraine round with actually good information. Had the town name there, but also some good signs there on the road and a roundabout, so it was just about trying to scan and find the right town. Yeah, that wasn't that much damage, unfortunately. And then we got an inland Australia. Yeah, we both kind of immediately thought of the right coverage there in Far Inland in SW. And yeah, we had the sign for White Cliffs. I guessed a bit fast. Like, honestly, I should have tried lining up because I guessed like in the wrong part of the town again. I quickly, like, I somehow tried lining up, but didn't really make the effort, and it ended up costing me the multiplier again. So, yeah. Then inland New Zealand, the south with those long ridges, that they also do grow a bit of wine around there in the inland, but I switched a bit to hedge because I wasn't sure I had found the right place, and yeah, again, ended up costing me another multi. Here we had Murao, which is a small municipality in Portugal. I didn't know, but it is quite findable. Um, and yeah, I went outside the town to try and get a bit of 5k, but I think Strefan guessed right in the town instead of trying to line up and stuff, but that ended up costing him the multiplier in this round. Now, short blood antenna Russia. Yeah, I was quite scared in Russia because Strefan is very strong Russia player, but yeah, these are the rounds where there's not really much you can do. Like just blurred antenna and no information, pretty much. At least we didn't really get into any information. So yeah, with the hilliness, we both kind of hedged near Almeitsievsk, which is very mountainous, but it was actually west of Ulyanovsk somehow, which is yeah, pretty hard to get, I think, unless you kind of know your Russia pretty well, I guess. Here we had Luleburgas Belediesi, which again is a Belediesi pro players are gonna know mostly. Yeah, and he guessed a bit more. Now we actually both got the multiplier there, so not really much coping to be done. This was kind of a terrible guess by me. I was trying to car merchant a bit too much. And instead of, actually looking around and seeing what it looks like, I just kind of guessed in the middle of striped car, like in general, and didn't really bother, like, making sense of the round in general. Because I thought I had to try something at some point, because he had such high multiplier. But, yeah. It was actually northwestern Montana, which made a lot of sense with those like tall trees and stuff. Strefan made a very good guess there, given there wasn't really too much to be found. So yeah, I lost the first moving. I mean, I think it was pretty close overall, but yeah, Strefan played well. Then in no move, starting in Ronda. Yeah, kind of both going middle. And then had a Turkey round. It said Sparta, I think, on this, if I remember correctly. So we both knew that we were both gonna know roughly where this would be, but yeah, we tried to scan like to find the town, and yeah, neither of us really found anything good. So both hedged in the lake somehow, and both got the multiplier. This was an interesting round. Gen 2 and, like a very coastal East Coast vibe with those coastal pines and palms. And yeah, it was Mexico with the short license plates and stuff, and the Gen 2, of course. And yeah, this was just about like lining up the coast and trying to find a town that makes sense. So at first, I think the sensible thing to hedge was like more middle within the coast, but in the end, I remembered about Gen 2 like in the far north near Texas, and I ended up finding the right town, and yeah, I think it's called Playa Baghdad, which is pretty interesting, which they were talking about in the stream. I don't know if you can hear because I put it pretty low, but yeah, pretty interesting place. Another Mexico round. Here we did have information on the car, like phone code and also the district. I think it was like Comalopalcan, something like that. Cosamaloapan. He found it instantly. And we also had funny meta. We had like Mexican flag antenna. Yeah, which is found like in southeastern Veracruz, I think. So basically not at all where I was scanning, but I mean, I think it said Cordoba on the taxi, which is why I was like scanning close to Cordoba at first, but yeah, I found the town in the end, but it looked like we were kind of outside the town, but it didn't. It looked like the town would be to our east, which is why I was going west of the town, but yeah, it was actually towards the other town. So yeah, tough to lose a multiplier on this, but this is how it goes when no tie range. Yeah, this round. At first, I was thinking Indonesia for some reason, even though the play didn't really look Indo. But yeah, I ended up thankfully going Southern Sarawak, just like Strefan. So yeah, pretty close game. I mean, I had a good advantage because of that one Mexico Gen 2 round, but yeah, here I almost made like a big mistake here because I was so confused by the car. I didn't really understand what the car was, but I guess it was just like the brown striped car which now exists in Merida area. So yeah, just like a very dry Merida, but we did have like the rock walls and stuff, so it made sense. I was a bit scared, so I ended up just hedging like Campeche, kind of scared it would be some random other part of the country, but yeah, was just Merida. This round was pretty good. We did have it is New Zealand. We did have the I'm trying to find it again. Yeah, like the fern tree here, I think. I think it is the fern tree. It's a bit hard to see, but basically like the huge ferns or like the fern tree things, they're mostly found in like the far west of New Zealand, so I don't know why this looked like completely on Zoom as if I was skyplunking, but I was definitely not. It's mostly found in the west of the country, like west of Hamilton and also New Plymouth area, and probably also the west coast of South Island, but probably not where Strefan guessed, so yeah. Pretty good meta. Then we had this round. So Small Cam Brazil is like probably one of the rounds which proportionately has ended the most games. Like, yeah, pretty difficult to reach near sometimes. So here we had a single support pull, which I think is why Strefan is going Tog. single support is most common in TOC, I think. But I was thinking it looks like the houses and the amount of Moriche palms, and so the general vibes were pretty Rondonian, and we also had poles without support. So within the Amazon region, Rondonia is the most common state to have like a lack of support. You can also get that in Roraima a bit, but yeah. So I went Rondonia and it ended up being correct. Yeah, I was pretty happy. I played quite well in the no move, even though, yeah, it was like kind of a one round moment at the end, but yeah. Going into an MPZ, obviously a bit scary to go up against someone like Strefan, but anything can happen in an MPZ, obviously. This round was very random, to be honest. I thought like, it's sandy, there are pines, makes enough sense to just go somewhere near Nizhny. I was thinking Yeka, maybe he was considering Sogut or something like with the sandiness, but it was just Nizhny, like east of Nizhny in Yoshka Ola, so that was a good, like a solid beginning of the game. Then we had this round. I immediately thought it looked quite a lot like Finland, and it was 24 copyright, and these kind of grey soil roads are quite common in Finland. And yeah, he immediately thought it was Quebec, which, to be fair, it could look a lot like Quebec. Mostly, I mean, we probably would have had the front of the car visible, because this means we would have been driving completely to the wrong side of the road, which, I mean, it's possible on a dirt road, but probably not what I would consider most likely. But I mean, other people were considering North America as well there. So yeah, it was Finland. At first I thought I was reacting like this because I forgot there were multipliers, and I thought it's like I had 3,590 and I thought I barely wouldn't win, but with the multipliers I won on this. And yeah, I felt a bit sad for Strefan because honestly it was a bit of it was a reverse sweep. Like, he played very well in moving, and yeah, I had to win no move and NPZ to beat him, but yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, Kapten is someone I've trained quite a lot with, so I think we kind of both have a good idea of our level and the knowledges we have. So we have quite a similar playstyle. But on this first round, I got very lucky because I stepped into, well, I will show you. I stepped into Old Courage, and somehow on the Old Courage, I immediately had a Belediesi. Both me and Kapten know quite a fair amount of Belediesi, I'm gonna say. So he definitely would have known this one as well. It was Yesiliot Belediesi, which is Malatya, which is very difficult to get otherwise. There aren't really... Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna think Malatya on a moving round like this. And yeah, he went quite far west, I think because of the Gen 3, because Gen 3 is mostly common, I think, in the west nowadays in Turkey. So yeah, that was really big points. And yeah, definitely, I mean, I knew I was very lucky on this to... like that he didn't get the information, because we literally practiced Belediesi together, so I know that that he knows this type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I felt very lucky and felt very good going into this game and having this advantage. He had a 32 area code, which I probably should have just guessed because he didn't get that information, but I wanted to try and get better information. So 32, I confused Krakow and Katowice. Obviously 32 is Katowice and Krakow is 12, I think, area code, so kind of trolling. And yeah, he had a Warsaw area code, so that was a bit tough. Yeah, I kind of trolled. That round could have been even more points, but this round, I think he had an area code immediately. I had like a CP number, so I knew we were in Tamaulipas, but I haven't really learned how the CPs work in Tamaulipas. I think they are ordered like from north to south, so from 87 to something. Yeah, I don't really know exactly, but It was all the way north. I mean, I shouldn't spoil, but yeah, I think he had the record like 892 or something like that, 862. I don't exactly remember, but I think I had 832 actually for some reason. Maybe I misread it. Wait, yeah, 842 here, which I don't really know. I think it wasn't I think it was not an record. That's why I trolled, but honestly, it looked kind of more north, probably with the dryness, and like you can kind of tell it looks a bit more American also. So yeah, I lost 1,000 points there, but yeah, it was a bit of a troll on my part. I think landscape-wise, I could have gone more north. Here I had the info. I think it said Middelburg Road or something like this, so I thought it would have to be near Middelburg, which is a city east of Johannesburg. So I kind of tried to line up roads since it was like a divided road. Probably was gonna be quite findable. And yeah, it was just south of Lennli. And yeah, Kapten went a bit more south, so that was pretty big points. Had a pretty strong lead now. Now Neko around. Yeah, I don't think we really got into anything other than a taxi with a P, which stands for Pichincha, which is the Quito province, so both went Quito. And luckily, I went a bit more north, so I got the multiplier. Had a pretty strong multiplier lead as well now, 3x against 1.5. Then we had an Ontario round, a Canada round. It's actually not very clear where you are, but I think we both immediately kind of thought Ontario with that blue car coverage, with the slight haziness. But I went into the right direction, so I got the information pretty fast that we were near the lake and the city was Marathon. So yeah. He knew the town immediately. He knew Marathon because he got the information after me. But I had to scan a bit and found it a bit later than him. But I used the extra time to try and line up the 5K, which was quite nicely done. Yeah, I got a bit lucky to be fair, but I found like the squiggly roads last second to the west of the city and got the multiplier. So yeah, here in Japan, we're in Hokuriku, with the like multiple horizontal plates on the pole. But yeah, we had Ueza, which is quite a findable city. I didn't know, which Kapten found pretty fast. Uozu, sorry, it's north of Toyama. And yeah, I was scanning in Niigata because we had very snowy mountains east of us, so thought Niigata made more sense, but I forgot about the Toyama mountains, which are obviously really huge. So yeah, that made a lot of sense. Then we had a northern Peru round. Looked pretty typically like Pura or Sullana, so it's mostly just about lining up. Ooh, he got into small cam. That's actually interesting. I did not know there was small cam there. Yeah, I think. Yeah, he is in small cam. Wow, okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, it was mostly about lining up which town made the most sense, and it was Sullana, and then I tried to line up the intersection with the double divided highway intersection. So yeah, that was nicely done actually. Yeah, took yet another multiplier. Then yeah, this was very strange. So I thought I instantly saw like a Kyushu plate. Huh. That was definitely not a Kyushu plate. Yeah. No, it was. Huh. I don't know what I was thinking, but I instantly guessed Kyushu because of that. But the pole tops and everything didn't make sense for Kyushu, so I was completely trolling on that round. Which, yeah, as you can see by now, there's always like a couple rounds in moving where I'm just completely, yeah, not locked in, I guess, like not focused. But yeah, it was Yamaguchi, so I actually got the multiplier there and the damage, so that was very lucky. Then we got a Sweden round. I think he got the information of the city pretty fast. Yeah, on that card it said Nasjö, which is it is a commune, I think. So yeah, it's probably something I learned at some point as well. And I also got the information here last second on the same car. And I roughly kind of remembered where Nasjö was, but I only saw it last second, so I didn't really get to guess inside the city. But yeah, it was quite a good save though. Here we had Norway round, and yeah, we had Kristiansand and the E135 pretty fast, but we also had a road number here which Kapten missed. I don't remember, where was it actually? Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember where. Yeah, here. Okay, he missed that. I mean, he had town names, but he was scanning close to Kristiansand. And honestly, if you don't have a road number there, I think it's difficult to scan the right area because it was way closer to Stavanger than Kristiansand, even though we didn't have the Stavanger info. So yeah, I was pretty lucky here with the road number I got. So just took my time to 5k in case he also had the info, but yeah, he didn't. So ended up winning on this round. And yeah, honestly, I played quite nicely, I think, this moving game, but yeah, also got quite lucky on 2 rounds at least. So then getting into no move against Kapten. Again, we trained quite a lot of no move, and we have a pretty similar level, I think we can agree on. So yeah. Here, I don't really know what I was cooking. I thought the trees looked pretty Atlantic, so I wanted to try something and go quite far east, but that was kind of a meme guess, to be honest. Yeah, I should have just hedged in the middle of the coverage instead of going like extreme east of the coverage when the trees were actually quite big. Now Slovenia with the dashes on the side. Yeah, just kind of trying to make sense of the region guess, but yeah, he got a pretty good region guess, almost getting the city. Yeah, here Brazil. I think we did have how do you call it, the Cascavel car, like with the striped exposed and the slide blur as well, but I wasn't really sure, and I thought the landscape was not really Cascavel, so. And I think he had the same thought process, so we kind of went a bit more east than Cascavel. It was actually south of Cascavel, so basically Misiones area. But yeah. Now we had a Jordan 15 region guessing round, which is quite fun. We're just about finding the right intersection. The right ramp, sorry. And here I found it quite quick, and I guessed a bit fast. I thought I had the 5k, to be honest, because it's just like one ramp. It's not gonna be that big, right? Like, I don't know. That's what I thought. But I lost the multiplier by I don't know by how many meters, like 20 meters or something. I don't really remember what the range is for 5k, but yeah, at this point got a pretty bad situation in terms of both being behind in health, but also in terms of multiplier. And here we had the New Mongolia courage, which we both didn't really know. I heard afterwards that I guessed on the road without courage, and Kapten guessed too far west basically for this car, so we kind of both marked it there. And yeah, again, I lost the multiplier there and lost a lot of health, so yeah, not really going too well in no move. But yeah, here some white car, 23, a lot of palms, so looks very typical Philippines, and with the very bright white soil and yeah, this vibe. I don't really know how to tell, but yeah, the dry white looking soil. It's pretty common, I think, in Cebu in my experience, but yeah, we both kind of thought the same and was correct. Finally, I got the multiplier. This round, yeah, it was just like a chilly southern vibe, like southern vegetation and stuff. But this coverage is pretty difficult to region guess. I just thought looks vaguely like around Koihaike. I'm just gonna kind of go around there, and somehow that was the 5k. Was a bit more south, but yeah, I thought it looked a bit more like the southern roads, but yeah, that was a decent comeback. Then we had an Eastern Turkey round. Yeah, it kind of just looked like near Van, but apparently I think this very snowy coverage is more like east of Van, so I probably made a bit of a troll guess again, but honestly it was just like a very good guess by him. Yeah. Here we had the Finland round. I mean, no antenna, 24 copyright. It's just very likely to be Finland on a northern round like this. And yeah, I thought it looked quite southern, and he also thought the same. Yeah, with the trees. I think it was a bit rocky as well. Yeah, it was pretty much near Helsinki there. Got another multiplier, which was quite nice. Then we moved into a Thailand round. It's not very fun. Like a nondescript Thailand round like this is pretty scary, honestly. We had Grey Car though, Grey Car 23, which is not found everywhere in the country for sure. I kind of thought, you know what, I've never really seen this coverage like far north or far south. I'm just gonna go like near Bangkok. That probably makes enough sense. So yeah, I just went Bangkok. He thought it looked more northern, probably because it was deeply forested like this, but yeah, it was just Bangkok, and that was a huge comeback from me, and I took the lead with that and gained the multiplier. Then we had this round, which I immediately thought looked like Gorontalo or something, or like the Nuses. But then I realized it looks a bit strange, especially also with White Car. White Car, when it looks like this in Indo, is only really probably Timor or something like this, but didn't really make sense, I think so. I ended up thinking Philippines. But yeah, I wasn't sure between Mindanao or Luzon, while Kapten was thinking Colombia and never really considering Asia. Honestly, Kodo makes sense. Like, I really see the vision, but I don't know. I think the mountains, the terrain just looked not really Kodo probably. Looked more Asian, but yeah. I was between, yeah, either Luzon or Mindanao mostly on this round, and ended up going Mindanao. And yeah, I won on this round, so 1-2-0 against Kapten, even though the no move was a bit of a multi-merchant, but that's how it goes sometimes. And yeah, this means that I ended up winning, like, I got very lucky. I won like the games that mattered, that I needed to win, which means like the second chance game and the round 1. So yeah, getting 4 points means that I'm now tied with Blinky at second, but also Bulgarian Joya, but pretty high up. I basically just have to get one more week like this where I get 4 points to qualify for the World Cup probably, so that is pretty positive. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say, so the video is already quite long, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. I probably will make more videos like this in the future to react to my games, and probably also different kinds of videos. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you soon.